So good morning. This is part 2 of the PassportJs lecture. Where we left off was that we had created a user model and that we had a login method in the app.js that would search, or that was a post that would accept a username and password, and then if it matched those up, then it would create a new UUID. This is a very simple method that doesn't really have any failures for when it doesn't work. So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to actually handle the authentication now on a request. So we are going to use Passport, which we pulled in up here. We have Passport and strategy, Passport from the NPM for Passport, and then the bearer strategy that we're using. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the website for that, and we are going to pull in their code that they've written for us. And use strategy. Actually, I'll just make this uppercase here. So this function by default has two parameters. The first one is token, and that automatic Passport in the background looks for the authorization header and pulls out the value from that minus bearer. So what would be after bearer is what's populated into the token. The second parameter is your callback, which is what we're going to return at the end, so that it continues and with the user that we find back. So in this example, they have a database that they're using, and that's not what we're doing. We just have our model. So what we need to do is write a method that is going to utilize the token that's passed in and find the user object based off of that. So we already have Lodash pulled in here. So I would think that the easiest way in our situation is just to grab the matching model by the token here. So we're going to say let user equals Lodash.find, and then we are going to use the user model, and then we are going to say that we're looking for the token field with the token variable that's passed in. I think that this returns a null value. So what I'm going to say is that we're going to pass back, let's see, so if it does not find a user, it passes back false in this example. So we're going to return the callback, null for the first parameter because we're not going to give an error, and then we're going to say if user, return user, else false. So we are doing a ternary operation in here. That's how I'm choosing to do it. This is for you, Alex. So now this will find the user and allow the middleware to continue on. Thank you. Okay. So now we are going to create a new method here. And we are just going to get a list of all the users. And now for the second parameter, we are going to actually add our middleware. And to do that, we are going to say passport.authenticate. And just to double check this. So as we went over on the board the other day, it'll take two parameters in here. One will be that we're using bear, and the other is that we're not saving sessions. So bear was session false. See if that was in quotes. It was not in quotes. So here we're passing in middleware as our second parameter, saying we want to use the passport authentication that we built in here. And then our third parameter is just our usual code. So we're going to rest.json and pass in user model. That formatted interesting. So now let's see what happens. Okay, so running the app on 5003. So we're going to go into Postman, and we're going to call the users endpoint. Gave us back a 401 unauthorized. So because of the code that we have here, it looked for a user that matched up with the token passed in and the authorization. And we didn't give an authorization header, so it just said you're not permitted, and it handled it all for us. So now what we're going to do is we are going to try logging in. Let's see. And we're going to have a header of content type application JSON. Then we're going to have we're going to change this to a post. That way body is enabled. And now we have the username, password from last time. We're going to send that. Gave us back a 200, and it gave us our token. So I'm going to copy this token. Now I'm going to go back and call, was it users, plural? Yep. And now headers. Oh, I'm going to add a new field here, authorization, and we are using bear. And then I will paste this. So now let's try this. Just keeping you guys on your toes. And now it gave us all of the information. So what did I do here that I shouldn't have done? Yeah. So I didn't filter out the user model before I returned it. So now someone would have unlimited access to the system. So what I should have done is only return the username, because I shouldn't return the token. So I would fix that, but I will not, since this is a quick lecture. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a logout method. And we're going to make this a delete.
You're writing that inside of your logo.
Authenticate bearer session false. Okay, so now we have our passport middleware in the function. So now we should have access to the user that was logged in with. So we're going to say let user equals I was missing some stuff here. We're going to say request dot user, which is given to us by Passport. So it's going to be the user that was authenticated with. So when we returned user right here, that now populates the rec.user field. We'll just say that we're going to grab the rec.user as an object, which will be the user's JSON. Now, let's see. We need to update this field. So I start off by saying dot find. So this is going to be kind of like a put here. Then we're going to say, actually, let's see, user dot token equals null. So now we have our user object, and now we're going to get the index of it. So let index, we're just going to copy this here. So it's username, user.username. And then we are going to splice and update that. And we'll give a message saying logout succeeded. Okay. So I'm going to log in, grab my token, Then I'm going to log out, and this is a delete. And I am going to paste my new token in here. And see if this works. So now, keeping my same token that I have here, I'm going to try grabbing the user's endpoint. Because that's not a get or a delete. Now I got a 401 unauthorized. So here in this example, we created a login function, a logout function, and a get. And then we built the Passport middleware that would authorize the user.